Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor, and welcome to the 100,000 Subscriber Interviews, a series of short interviews with people who have harnessed my work and seized the power. My next guest is ready, so let's find out more about them. Hello, what's your name and where are you from?
My name is Julia, and I live in Los Angeles.
Thank you for joining me today, Julia. Okay, how did you come across my work?
I came across it about 4.5 years ago on YouTube, and the algorithm directed me to a video which was called, I still remember it, For the Sake of Argument.
Okay.
And that was on your old Knowing the Narcissist channel.
Mm-hmm.
And
Nice.
then I took about 18 months watching all the videos fairly systematically, first on the Knowing the Narcissist channel, and then when you switch to the other one, I moved there with you.
Well, thank you for following me across to the Ultra channel, much appreciated. And could you explain briefly for me, Julia, the narcissist situation that brought you to my work?
Well, actually, strangely enough, I didn't know I had a narcissist situation.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, I just started dating a wonderful man, and he had an ex from whom he has been separated for about 5-6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I just observed the dynamic they had, and it was just very strange. There were a lot of things that were quite inexplicable, and they couldn't be counted off as manipulations. It just didn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so I began snooping around, and I came across narcissism, and that made me realize that my own previous relationship, which was a long-term relationship, which was just absolutely brutal, was a perfect illustration of the narcissistic dynamic.
Okay. Now, you mentioned there that that relationship was brutal. Perhaps you could expand a little on how that situation was affecting you.
It was bad. So I would say I had about 5 years within it of sustained evaluation with little respite periods as it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, I began to develop psychosomatic symptoms. I had joint pain, and I actually went to a physical therapist who noticed it. And I'm a very active person, and I shouldn't be in that shape. And he said that the next thing is going to be a stroke because I appear to be under tremendous stress from whatever it is. And so I escaped, which is apparently, as you explain, is a very rare outcome.
Mm.
It took some manipulation on my part and some finagling, but I did it.
Mm-hmm.
And in about 2 more years, I reached near no contact.
Well done. And so the physical symptoms really was the catalyst for you taking action to escape. Is that right?
That's right. I was scared because I was literally told that the next thing on the agenda is having a stroke.
Quite the motivator then. And
Right.
which of my books have you read?
Actually, none.
None.
None. I didn't read a single book, and the reason being, because I first encountered the videos and I delved into them, and I'm an academic, and so I didn't do it on purpose, but I approached it as a research
Mm-hmm.
project, and so I think I watched. There are about 26 odd 100 videos on the new channel, which
Mm-hmm.
combine the old ones. I probably watched over 2,000 of them. So I began, when I started watching, I would watch them a few hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
And when I finally caught up, which took me about, I'd say, 2.5 years, I began watching the daily posts. So I'm constantly watching the videos. And when I had questions, I would search for videos. Sometimes I would find them in the old channel. And I did I did buy some reading materials, but it just didn't do the trick because your presentation was such an important part of it that for me personally, I just consume the videos, which are
Interesting.
I should add gratis, So it's
Yes.
yeah.
Well, your transgression for failing to purchase my books is forgiven as a consequence of your voracious watching of my videos. So you've managed to save yourself there from any kind of corrective devaluation. Very good. And you said that you did purchase some reading materials. Was that from the Knowledge Vault?
Yes. So the Knowledge Vault, I took full advantage, and I actually, again, because I knew that first I had to do my homework, as it were, I watched all the videos
Yes.
before I got to the Knowledge Vault because I didn't want to show up and ask stupid questions. So by the time I started using the Knowledge Vault, I wanted to help my partner. And he, at the time, began a really prolonged and unreasonable divorce proceedings. So I purchased for him Divorcing a Narcissist in Court, and How to Co-Parent with a Narcissist.
Okay.
And then I can tell you what else I got for myself.
No, please continue.
All right. So for myself, I purchased the Zero Impact, which is very interesting, very useful, narc repellent, narcissistic perspective, and pipelines.
Okay.
Yeah, and from there on, I actually went on. I purchased. There were other things like once I discovered the literary part, I did The Asylum of the Grotesque. The Three That Got Away, Mysterious Tale, Dark Cupid, which was really good. Actually, all of the literary things that are just listed are really, really good. And then I worked myself up to my way up to the trait detector for myself.
Yes.
And the narc detector for the narcissist that was in my life. And that I did in order to make sure he is not as dangerous as he could be.
Okay. So some substantial groundwork there. Excellent. Now, you and I have spoken on a number of occasions, but what was it that drove you to organize an audio consultation with me?
Selfishness. I wanted to run a trait detector on myself. And when I did, I wasn't quite satisfied with and I should say, so the way you go through the procedure of it's just wonderful and professional the way the purchasing system works, the way you fill things out, and then the audio file that you get, because there's a component that explains the way it works, and then there's the individual sort of judgment rendered.
Yes.
And so I still had some follow-up questions, and that's why I set up that first initial consultation.
Okay, thank you. And how did you feel just before you spoke to me for that first time?
I was really looking forward to it. By then, having listened to hundreds of hours of videos and having read the fictional text, I thought that that should be a really fascinating conversation, and I wasn't disappointed.
Good. I'm pleased that was the case. And where do you find yourself now? You alluded to being 2 years no contact with regard to the brutal narcissist. That's obviously endured. What about the situation for your partner that you were helping with regard to that particular narcissist? Where's that got to?
Well, I would say, as Inspector Clouseau used to say, problem solved.
Okay.
It was an absolutely brilliant outcome because they won the guide, the narcissist in court, helped to get through the court proceedings and have a favorable outcome. And then the co-parenting part helped organize the co-parenting in a way that there's absolutely zero interference at this point, and it's just it was just absolutely perfect.
Good.
Just yeah, so
So that appears that it might have answered my next question, but I'll ask you anyway, just in case it's something different. So what part of my work has helped you the most and why?
actually, there's more to the
Hmm.
helpful part. So there's a practical aspect, which is the trade detector was really important for me. And I might comment on it in a minute. The NARC detector was also very helpful for me just to give me peace of mind because my concern was
Hmm.
that I was dealing with the grader and I was not. So again, I don't have to think about it anymore.
Hmm.
Um, and um, and then there's an aspect where you just from the work at large, you get. I mean, if you really delve into it, you get the tools that allow you to recognize a narcissistic dynamic as such, and
Hmm.
that is invaluable. I mean, in my case, it helped with my interactions with colleagues at the university, with my home owners association board. I mean, basically, to quote Bacon, knowledge itself is power.
Hmm.
So that aspect is just it's tremendous. And then for me personally, and you know that, and that we discussed it in the interview that we did. It's also intellectual stimulation
Yes.
because it's a hugely important aspect of everything around us, from politics to art to literature to film. So just really, it's a whole package. It's really great.
Excellent. Thank you. What would you like to learn more about?
Well, so I would love to learn about how the big five, the personality traits,
Yes.
overlay the matrix that you have. I
Yes.
would love to learn about that, and actually, maybe even the version that Dr. Peterson developed, the version of the test, because he splits it into 10, so it's a bit more finance, just like yours.
Hmm.
Um, the other thing I'd like to learn is I would like to know more about narcissistic people,
Hmm.
and more specifically, I mean, how important is the driver of narcissism in the behaviors that are similar, if not identical, to what the narcissists do? So that's I think those are two things, and then not so much to learn, but I know I could see because I consume your work daily.
Hmm.
Uh, so I could see how busy you are, but I cannot wait for the continuation of the readings, the Wuthering Heights,
Ah,
the
yes.
Seduction series, all of those goodies that were just, so, they're also so good. So it's and I,
Thank you.
uh, yeah,
Yes, well,
so
there
so
are other
that.
people, yes, who've very kindly requested that I complete Wuthering Heights, and I shall do so. And of course, the Seduction series will return. So
Mhm.
that's absolutely in the pipeline. I'm glad that you enjoyed those. Now then, do you identify as an empath?
No, I do not. And the trade detector you did for me sorted that question out. I
Yes.
am narcissistic,
Yes,
although I don't qualify for a narcissist.
that's right. So the outcome for you is narcissistic rather than narcissist. And
That's right.
let's just address that, because obviously with people who identify as an empath, we talked about school and cadre. So let's
Hmm.
just talk a little bit about the outcome for you as being found to be narcissistic. First of all, did that surprise you?
No,
No.
it,
Okay.
because and the reason I did the trade detector, I had this moment of panic.
Hmm.
And again, this is after 2 years of listening to the tapes.
Hmm.
I thought that perhaps, maybe because based on my previous behavior with people,
Hmm.
there's a lot of narcissistic dynamic with me as an actor, as a perpetrator, and I completely embrace your idea of when you know you go.
Hmm.
And by then, my boyfriend was a faithful listener of your videos as well.
Hmm.
And so I was worried that he would have to dump me.
Yes.
So That's yeah, no, so it wasn't surprising. I knew about the tendencies,
Yeah,
but the precision with which you read it was really interesting,
good.
and your assurance of that wasn't that I'm not the upper mid-ranger elite that I thought I was.
No, you're
uh,
not.
yeah.
But yeah, you have very strong narcissistic traits and limited emotional empathy, which fits you into that narcissistic category. And so that's why it's particularly useful to speak to you today, to have some variance compared to the experiences of the empaths that have embraced my work, to have someone who's narcissistic utilizing it as well. So that's a useful comparison. What do you think now, Julia, about narcissists?
Well, I actually think about them. I didn't before. And as many other people who uh, received information from you, learn about narcissism, about how it forms,
Hmm.
we all understand that this is it's a protective mechanism. So it's not, it's not some sort of version of even amoralism, or
Mm.
never mind evil, but it is a thing. And so now I think about narcissism a lot. I look at all sorts of life situations with that in mind. And I'm in mortal fear of getting in the path of a greater.
Yes.
Not, I don't think it may happen romantically in my case, but in some other way, because what you shared makes me realize that I wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is a scary thing. And then also, I mean, it did help. So say if I'm narcissistic, and in my family there were two narcissists whose
Hmm.
behaviors were really quite devastating for the loved ones,
Hmm.
and it totally did make sense, and now it does. So there's that sort of usefulness as well.
Hmm.
So I do think about narcissists a lot right now.
Good. What's your favorite aspect of my work?
Well, I mean the author.
Hmm.
And the reason for it is I see, so it's intelligence which is combined with levity, and it's
Hmm.
a really rare combination. I could think of very few people who have it. Christopher Hitchens was one such person who was intelligent and brutal and
Hmm.
honest and funny.
Hmm.
So that is just very attractive because I mean, I read and write for a living, and
Yes.
it's really important to have quality material. The other thing is the pretty and quality of your work. I mean, so you have this amazing range. You have the foundation videos, which are on the subject of narcissism, and that's the stuff I've been watching for 18 months just to learn what it is and how the
Yes.
matrix work, all of that. Then and that is done, actually, I should say again, as a teacher, it's done with the thoroughness of a good humanities course,
Hmm.
even
Hmm.
though it's kind of configured from separate bits. Then you
Yes.
have fiction. So I personally enjoyed Ensnared and Seduction
Hmm.
series. Can't wait for the third one. The Narc Tales came to grow on me. I then there's also, you do narration, which that's the Treasure Trove
Yes.
channel, right?
That's right. That's
Uh,
right.
so that is just that was a true gift for Christmas, and I really really enjoyed it, and I can't wait for the return of that.
Hmm.
And then there's the satire part, the roasts, the stag,
Hmm.
finding dollars.
Hmm.
It's really really good. And actually, I have to say, I did spill some drinks while listening to Finding Dollars.
Well,
Um, yeah, and
that's
then
mandatory when it comes to listening to the humorous elements.
well, it's really funny, but it's not a shtick. So it's kind of alive. And then I really enjoy live streams, the way you interact with people,
Okay.
and I like the interviews.
Hmm.
Uh, I really like Dog's interviews, the ones
Yes.
he did with you, because they're kind of cumulative, and it's just really touching to see the interaction. between the two of you. But the other ones there's some really good ones.
Sure.
So it's all fun. Yeah.
Good.
So yes, it's all there.
Well, thank you for the comparison with the hitch. I'll take that all day long. I'll certainly acquire that character trait, and I'll have to come up with my own version of the hitch slap. I think I don't know
That's
whether
right.
sort of Tudor takedown or something along those lines. It would have to be. Thank you for that. It was very interesting. And
It's
finally,
benign manipulation.
but touche. Finally, Julia, what's your message to people listening?
Well, it depends on who are the people. So for the entrapped empath, listen, read, and do what he says. Because just based, again, just watching people, the testimonials on the blog, and just people commenting on videos, the efficacy, like the help that people get, is just it's the proof is in the pudding. Do consultations. Don't be afraid of. I know I was excited about speaking with you, but I know that some people are worried, and some people are, because they have the addiction. So that's the empath. Then, but if you are not addicted to narcissists, listen and learn, because you could still. My example proves that you could still step into it and pay the price. And then, just for everyone, I mean, enjoy the entertainment, and most of which is incidentally free. Now there's subscriptions. I have one of those because I mean, it's preposterous just to be consuming and not give back. But yeah, so enjoy. And I mean, my favorite mode of delivery is videos. So one tip I have for people who want to do that. When you go to the YouTube channel, go to playlists, and then you can go through the entire playlist at once, as opposed to trusting the stupid algorithm, which is very inconsistent, and it's hard to find things and all of that. So yeah, so just enjoy. It's all good.
That's a good point about the playlist. Thank you. Well, Julia, very interesting as always to talk to you. Thank you for sharing your observations with me today.
My pleasure. And thank you. Thank you for the work. Yeah.
You're most welcome.